Okay, fuck it. We can do it like this. As long as y'all get this food. I don't want y'all to think about the level of atrocity that this, because they not human. You know when they say one small step for man, black, Human. One small step for man, one giant step for mankind. Y'all can't read in between that. They not human. Mankind, like kind of like a man. They are aliens. Not from here. They blue, gray, reptilian. The motherfuckers transform. Y'all think this shit all games and shit. You think I be talking shit. I ain't scared of them. Y'all scared of them. They know they can't fuck with me. Sorry. So, all y'all Christians and all y'all gotta really live by that shit. What you think I did?
What type of political Adiola? How many Africans still remember the story of Patrice Lumumba? In fact, I will not be surprised that some Africans have never heard about Patrice Lumumba. In this era where African schools don't really teach African history, I mean, we learn more about the Queen of England when I was growing up in school than what happened in our own history. And in case you're wondering why you should care about what happened to this man, well, this man, Patrice Lumumba, by the age of 35, has a legacy that so many of our present-day leaders in Africa can only dream of. And he has inspired so many people. And even though he's dead, he's still inspiring people. Recently, the country of Belgium returned the only remnants of Lumumba, his gold tooth. And which to me is what type of political Adiola? How many Africans still remember the story of Patrice Lumumba? In fact, I will not be surprised that some Africans have never heard about Patrice Lumumba. In this era where African schools don't really teach African history, I mean, we learn more about the Queen of England when I was growing up in school than what happened in our own history. And in case you're wondering why you should care about what happened to this man, well, this man, Patrice Lumumba, by the age of 35, had impacted a legacy that so many of our present-day leaders in Africa can only dream of. And he has inspired so many people. And even though he's dead, he's still inspiring people. Recently, the country of Belgium returned the only remnant of Lumumba, his gold tooth. And they tendered some apology, which to me is not enough. I'll tell you why. But for you to understand the gravity of what Belgium did in the Congo, we have to go back in time. Before Belgium explorers arrived in the Congo, about 4 million Congolese people had been shipped out as slaves.
Lincoln was half black. Obama was half black. What he did. See what Lincoln did.
But in 1885, King Leopold II took over
the country look like he got some
as his own personal property.
Yep.
That is something that I still cannot wrap my mind around. How anybody can decide that this new country, because of its natural resources and its beauty, henceforth my personal property. How? We really need to talk about the Berlin Conference someday, when Africa was literally divided among colonialists as if Africa belonged to them.
What's the Treaty of Belgium?
The Berlin Conference, the US had recognized Belgium as the owner of the Congo. The country of Congo, by the way, is 77 times.
Fuck these motherfuckers, the opposite of the people's skin color, but they own.
They had guns. King Leopold, for 23 years, he unleashed the most brutal enslavement.
Hitler ain't got shit on him.
Leopold II forced the people of Congo to extract their own natural resources for him to build.
If you work slow, he cutting the arm off.
As human beings, by the way, the people of Congo. In fact, animals were treated better than them. At least 10 million Congolese people were massacred in the 23 years that King Leopold II was in charge of Congo. Many of them were flogged to death. And we're talking about in the 1800s, 10 million people. The population of Belgium today is 11 million, just to put it in perspective.
And where we go right there.
This is different from the millions of Congolese these people whom he cut off their hands and their genitals, whom he starved, whom he held their children as ransom. In fact, he cut off the hands of so many children as well, and he burned down so many villages at a time because anytime they failed to meet the quota of extracting rubber, among other things. If you see how advanced some Western countries are today, make sure that you also know their history because many countries were built by Africa's natural resources.
All
Now,
of
the situation in Congo was so bad that there was a public outcry all over the world. There were reports of widespread murder, torture, and other abuses in the rubber plantations.
French,
And
German,
this led to
Portuguese,
international
colonial
outcries against
officials with
Leopold
equally
II.
fatal results.
So, the Belgian government,
Because the system affects Congo so easily be blamed on one man who could safely be attacked because he didn't represent a great power. Yeah. Because his only son had preceded him, King Leopold.
Which is also a side
Know where
joke
he at
because
right now.
you can even compare the two countries population-wise, not to talk about how big Congo is compared to Belgium. Like I said, Congo is 77 times bigger than the country of Belgium. And as of that time, if the history statistics was anything to go by, the population of Belgium was about 2 million, and the population of Congo as of that time was more than 9 million, according to statistica.com. And that is despite the fact that
And they talk about us with our little gang war. But motherfuckers in Mexico, what they murder on? Murder rate every year 20,000. Why ain't going down there?
Belgium still treated them as less equal.
Under Belgian rule, the natives had virtually no political voice.
Well, we ain't gotta watch the whole story. Y'all do y'all research. Adolf Hitler ain't had shit on King Leopold. And he killed like 30 million.
Only the year 1950, nearly half a century into the colonial
I was right here telling my what I give a fuck about white people.
the children of Belgian settlers.
Just imagine.
I'm keeping to myself.
People came to your country and suddenly you are not human anymore. They were not even allowed to be educated beyond